I play Annabelle. Annabelle, she's like a 30-year-old woman who isn't ready for responsibility in her life. She plays, bass in a punk band, and she's not ready to kind of move on to the adult phase of life. And she's totally in love with her boyfriend. At some point, her boyfriend gains custody of his nieces who had been left in the woods. No one knows how they survived and lived so long because they were babies when they were lost. And by Annabelle, I guess she unwillingly becomes their guardian. And you see throughout the film, she starts out as this, somewhat selfish woman, and she kind of learns to put herself last by the end of the film, and she really learns to care for these girls who have been cared for by something else in the woods, and Annabelle and this creature rival for the girls' attention. Annabelle's the rival to the affections of the girls. I think Mama was perfectly fine with the girls being there as long as they loved her best. And once they discover that Annabelle is warm and, like physically, like the temperature of Annabelle is warm, and there's something they can get from Annabelle that they could never get from Mama, you start to see their alliance start to shift. And that's what causes all hell to break loose in the house, and sets Mama on this path to remove her obstacle for of the children's affection, which then you have the throwdown of Mama and Annabelle. There is something about working with children that you don't know what they're going to do, and they bring the spontaneity to it. And usually if they're kind of like non-actors, there's not this desire to please, which I think sometimes can happen with children where they just want to get it right, so they don't have the freedom in their performance that they would have if they're just kind of playing. It's been really great. I'm so impressed by these girls. Little Isabel, I cannot believe what she can do physically is fantastic. He's like a full-on Renaissance man, and you don't really, it's too bad people won't see this. I hope there'll be a section that'll show his storyboards. He works all day, and then he goes at home. He'll be up until 3 or 4 in the morning drawing the storyboards. He's really a very talented visual artist, and but then he's also a musician, and he does everything, and it's really obnoxious because it makes you go I only act. You realize you can't do everything. He's great to work with because he's really collaborative. I was a bit nervous. I'd never done this genre before, and I was nervous I was going to be asked to do a lot of really silly things that didn't make sense, that wasn't authentic, and having to be acting against nothing. Andy has created a space to try to make it as real as possible. He has Javier here who plays Mama for a lot of things where I'm reacting to Mama. It's going to be the kind of film that the scares are really psychological, and it's a slow burn scare. But also it'll make you feel things because, I don't know, I approach every film like it's a drama. I approach it like they're real people, and I have great responsibility to portray them. Guillermo is another really, really nice man, really passionate about this genre, and visually, just brilliant ideas. It's exciting. I mean, I am such a fan of Pan's Labyrinth and Hellboy, and to be involved in something that he's working on is it's fantastic. It's part of the main reason I'm here. And he's so intelligent. He's so insightful about the genre, and there are great performances in this genre. Mia Farrow and Nicole Kidman from The Others, and Naomi Watts. There's really great female performances, and he's really knowledgeable on kind of the mythical aspect of what a monster or a ghost is. So I'm learning a lot from him.
The idea of Mama is almost like a fairy tale gone wrong. The idea of 2 girls that were lost in the woods and were adopted by a deranged ghost. and sustained in their period in the woods for years. And then they are rescued from that tragedy and brought to the city. And the problem is the ghost loves them, so it comes looking for them. You expect the ghost to come out and do one thing. You know, you have a wailing ghost or a ghost that wanders the moor, the moors screaming. And in the case of Mama, that emotion is love, possessive, asphyxiating love. So, you know, I always say that a ghost is like the essence of a person, as if you leave a full personality to desiccate in the sun, and then what is left is like the corpse of one emotion, and that corpse in Mama is possessive motherly love. One thing I love about the way we transitioned into a feature film is Andy was very, very particular about how much he wanted to show Mama, or rather how little. You know, I think he restrained how many times we showed Mama, but he shows her enough that you feel satisfied. You go, oh my God, that thing is really scary. But he doesn't show Mama so much that it becomes ineffective. I think he has a great career ahead of him. You know, when you find somebody like Andy or Juan Antonio Bayona, you know, I produce now about close to 20 movies. And now and then I try to produce a lot of first-time directors, and now and then you go, this guy is the real deal. You know, this guy is the real deal. Our biggest victory in Mama is casting Jessica. We really, really wanted her. She's the anchor of the film. Without her, there would be no film. So, and we really couldn't see anyone else in there. Jessica's character, Annabelle, is somebody that is fighting very hard not to be domesticated, somebody that wouldn't necessarily go with becoming a monogamous part of a couple, you know. And Nikolai is so magnetic, so down to earth, so tangible that you understand why she would settle. When the horrible is combined with love, it's very compelling and really, really scary. Because people understand we are not just telling the story of a monster, we're telling the story of a very human emotion that is now monstrously out of proportion. When we went to the studio, the first thing I said to them is, look, the poster is very simple. I said, it's the ghost of Mama with the two girls looking, and the tagline is, a mother's love is forever. And I said, and that is, at the same time, because it's so sappy, in that context, it becomes really scary. I don't know if we're going to use that tagline or not, but immediately communicated the horror. Mama will never give up and never surrender, never let her children go. So that's a huge, like the Terminator of emotions.
He believes in instinct overall, and he encourages you to follow your instinct, and even to defy, you know, and to rebel against even himself, and follow your instinct. There were a few moments in the developing of the story where you know, different ideas were encountered, and at one point, you know, on the discussion of what should be, at the end he would say, it's your movie and it's your instinct, so you should follow it. When we are young, and whatever is there to protect us, we attach to it, and we follow and we imitate, and that's like for me, it's like an amazing concept in nature, and I think it's in the movie in a supernatural context. It's a story with a strong emotional element besides a horror film, you know. And that's what generally I miss in genre movies, you know. And I wanted we wanted to make this from the beginning a story that scares you but also like touches you deeply.
Andy is very sweet, very nice. If I had to do, this is my first big movie, so I think he's perfect since he's so nice. He doesn't really get mad at us. And even if he's had a big day, he's still like super sweet and he's super nice. And if I do this something the way I've practiced and he doesn't like it, well, he just wants to change it, then I'm like, sure, that's great. Like, I think your idea is great, and just go along. He's awesome. I play Victoria, the oldest of the two girls, and she's kind of shy at the beginning. At the very beginning, when like Lucas first meets her, she's kind of aggressive, but then she realizes who he really is, and then she kind of gets soft with him, and she really grows a close bond with Annabelle. Mama loves us because she missed her baby, so she takes care of us for the 5 years we got lost, and we just grow more animalistic over the years. Mama's kind of like a ghost slash spirit, you could say. She's like very tall and gangly, kind of that kind of thing, and she cares a lot, but she's not exactly the kindest. She is very kind towards her children, but towards other people like Annabelle and Lucas, she doesn't really like them because they took us away. The first time I saw Javier dressed up as Mama, I was quite freaked out. And I was drawing at the time, so I was just staring at him. I'd look at him for like 2 seconds and I'd turn back. I kind of didn't really want to show I was interested, but I was kind of freaked out at the same time.
You know, the guys doing the Mama prosthetics, all, you know, I think they won the Oscar for Pan's Labyrinth. And, you know, these are like very, very good and very, very creative people. Of course, it means, you know, it gives it, well, it's so stupid to talk about a brand in a way, but it's almost a brand. It's like it's a you know, brand of quality. But first and foremost, it's it's Andy's movie with Guillermo, who found him, and with his backing, which, yeah, and without Guillermo, this wouldn't have happened. We are all very grateful. There's also this psychologist, Dreyfus, who realizes for him it's like a unique case. Like, he's gonna write a book about these kids because it's like unheard. And suddenly he realizes that there must be someone else. Like, they keep talking about Mama, and he believes that there's a person out there who must have taken care of these kids. It turns out that he's right. It seems like she doesn't really, as long as there's no emotional connection between the kids and whoever they meet, she's fine. But as soon as there's a threat, an emotional threat, she kind of goes in and gets a little aggressive. The best horror movies, or the most intense thrillers I always do, any movie in a way, is when you kind of connect with the characters and when you identify with them, and because then it all takes on a whole different, and then becomes interesting. And I think what we're hoping for here is, of course, that people will really care about this, but also that we're giving, and Andy giving the ghost, the opponent, the baddie, or whatever, gives that a soul and an emotional depth that is not just about scaring the out of us, which she will, but also, like, you kind of understand that it's driven out of a place of you know, sorrow, of you know, there's a tragedy there, which is I think is interesting.